So shoot him a message.
We don't believe you were in spectator mode before. Might want to check that as well, okay?
There you go. Stream life.
Don't forget to double check your resolution settings.
He should be good as long as he didn't update his driver since the last race. Oh no.
Butts, is that a Crown Vic on your picture in Discord?
Basically, it's a Grand Marquis.
Or is it a Mercury? Okay,
yeah,
it's the same thing.
Same thing. Different badge, same car. Yeah, it's my car.
My second car I've ever owned was
I think I'm live now.
1990 Lincoln.
Okay.
1990 Lincoln Continental.
All right, I'm good to go. All right, guys, welcome to race number 11 for Season 6. This is Spod Frankenchops today. It's fantastic. We have 6 drivers with us this evening, so thank you guys for joining us, as always. This is race number 11. We only have one race after this, next Friday, and we're finished with the season. And we're just getting started momentarily. So, hang out for a sec, and we'll get going. And we're off. As always, this is a 20-lap race. Or 21-lap race with one pace lap, led by the one and only The Out Cold here. As we just get things situated here. So we'll do a quick rundown of the players who are driving today. So we have The Out Cold up in front, leading our pace lap with the 1971 AMC. Followed by Del Rey, currently in second pole position with 2011 BMW 1 Series M Coupe. We have GKev in third place, driving the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Super Sport Coupe. Should be followed by Black Death. We should be, I believe, in fourth place with the 2013 Subaru BRZ. We had a little bit of a mix-up there on the pre-lap race. Centurio Butts, the 1997 Mazda RX-7. Vendaxian in sixth place with a 1993 Porsche 928 GTS. And last but not least, Centurio Butts driving in the rear position with 1997 Mazda RX-7. Spot of Frankenchops is a very interesting track. It's a fairly decent straightaway. As always with all the other races, we do run B-Series cars. We have assist turned off except for ABS and braking line. We have all the realistic settings turned on, including tire damage, fuel, and collision. We also have penalties turned on as well for cutting the track or for collisions. All drivers are required to pit at least once during the course of the race, so we do require each driver to do a pit maneuver at least once. And the class is B-Series. The spot at Frankenchops is a pretty interesting track, actually. A lot of uphill and downhill parts, as you can see here, as he's coming down the mountain. Going into turn number 10, I believe it is. So we'll pop back to Black Death here, near the end of the field, so we can see everyone as they complete their pace lap, just getting all their tires warmed up. Already getting some paint transfer here on the pace lap, as Delray is keeping it at a pretty damn slow pace for even a pace lap. So we're just edging around the final turn here as the Cold is creeping around this final turn, headed into the first real lap of this race. As always, this is the initial pace lap. It wouldn't be an Over30Clan pace lap, but it didn't have a little bit of paint transfer. As the Cold edges towards that line. And the drivers are off. GCAV looking to make a move here right up front. Manages to take out Cold on the outside. Delray getting a little bit of a scratch from Black Death there. Nothing too serious as GCAV pulls pretty far ahead just off this first turn. Black Death passing Delray on the outside. Looking to possibly take on the Out Cold here. Oh, Cold, overestimating that turn, goes straight off the track. Black Death managing to take second place and just barely avoiding a collision as that Cold swerves back on the track. So Black Death is now in second place. GCAV up in first. Centero Butts in third. Out Cold has dropped back to fourth. Let's go ahead and drop back to the Out Cold. So you can see he is attempting to take on Vindex, and there manages to pull ahead in fourth. So we have Out Cold dropping all the way back to fifth place from that mistake. But still in the race, there's plenty of laps to go. Nickel being very aggressive on this turn, almost taking it a bit too wide. Vidaxian choosing for the inside line. Let's pop up to Vindaxian here, currently in fourth place. Get a better view of the field. We still have GCAV way out in front. Black Death trailing behind in second. Centero Butts on his ass in third. And Vindaxian here in a comfortable fourth place. We got an 8-second field displacement between first and last place. Everyone's still pretty tightly bunched up. Budaxi seems to have quite the speed going into this turn here. I'm wondering if he can use it to his advantage to take on Centero Butts. Looks like he's being very aggressive. Tad bit late on the acceleration, ending that turn. Allowing Centero Butts to pull a bit ahead. Black Death going off the track just a little bit. I'm wondering if he's going to... He did not incur a penalty, so Centurion Butts and the Out Cold currently have a half-second penalty. Everyone else is driving pretty clean. Current best lap, 2:43. So if you're wondering why that pace lap felt freaking long as all hell, because it was freaking long as all hell at 4 minutes and 23 seconds. Delray was creeping around the track there. But now that we've gotten up to full speed, we're about 2.5 minute lap, so... Pretty quick track for how long it is. Very fast track. Centurion Butts losing a little bit of his tires there and spinning off the track, allowing Vindaxian to take 3rd place. Centurion Butts dropping down to 4th. We're going to drop back here to 4th place position, and Centurion Butts as he's ripping down this track, looking like he's making some progress on Vindaxian here in 3rd place. Drivers starting to spread out a little bit. Centurion Butts in the Out Cold again. Appears the only drivers with 2 penalties. We're going to jump up to Black Death, currently in 2nd place. He appears to be making some progress towards GCAV here in 1st. So here's inching up on him. We'll take a look and see if there's any progress to be had here. Black Death being a bit aggressive on that last turn. Going a tad bit wide, allowing GCAV to run ahead. Vindaxian not far behind here in 3rd place. Definitely has a sight set on Black Death's position. Centurion Butts not far behind. So a very competitive 1st to 4th place in this race. Plenty of track to go. A lot of changes can definitely happen. Daxian inching in on Black Death as they come down the backside of this mountain. Daxian with the best lap time at 2:41.27. As he inches ever more closer to Black Death here. GCAV with a very comfortable lead. Lap number 4. Black Death not overshooting that lap yet. Vindaxian shaving a bit more time off his missed lap of the 2:40.48. And consistency is key on these 21 lap races. So Vindaxian inching his way forward ever so slightly with these increased best lap times. Black Death almost spinning out there as he hit the dirt. Giving Vindaxian just enough momentum here to possibly pass him on the straightaway. Black Death seems to be recovering with his acceleration. And is managing to pull ahead of Vindaxian here. Yeah, Black Death going a little bit wide, hitting the dirt again. So both Black Death and Vindaxian seem to be inching in on GKev, who is still in a comfortable first place, but seeing his lead evaporate very slowly over time here. Still have 16 laps to go, so plenty of race left. Vindaxian just avoiding Black Death there on the turn. Vindaxian being very, very aggressive here on the outside of this straightaway. Now, we did see Black Death recover with the acceleration of his car just right here, yeah. The gear timing's in the favor of Black Death. As he's able to pull ahead here on the straightaway and make up a fair amount of lost time. They continue to inch closer to GKev here. Black Death occurring a 1 3/4 second penalty, so that could come into play with Vindaxian being so close to his heels. Vindaxian still holding the best time at 2:40.82. The penalties are a fairly new thing this season. It's something that Forza 7 just released, so we utilized it for the first time this season. It has made a couple of the races rather interesting. Especially in these closer matches, you know, driving a clean race is as important as driving a fast one. Losing a minute, or 1 3/4 seconds when the driver behind you is only 3/4 of a second behind you, or even less, it's pretty devastating. I think Black Death's getting a fair amount of penalties for the track cutting, if I had to guess. We've seen him take turns just a tad bit too wide, and some of the turns being a bit too aggressive. So we'll check back with these guys in just a moment here. Let's pump back to Centurio Butts. Currently in 4th place, so still in a very competitive position here. We have 15 laps to go, so plenty of racing to go. Vindaxian appears again to be very aggressive on Black's heels. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to pass him on the outside here yet. Black Death maintaining that 2nd place position. So Turnboat's getting up to a pretty high speed there. We just missed it. We'll have to check it again in a moment. We'll bomb back to the Ocoli. You're currently in a comfortable 5th position. This is a beautiful lime green paint job. Driving the AMC Javelin AMX. Pop back up to Vindaxian in 3rd place. Is still right on the heels of Black Death there. They have managed to catch up pretty close now to GKev. I think they've cut GKev's lead by about a quarter in the past couple laps. And despite posting a better lap time by almost 2 full seconds on GKev, Vindaxian is not able to pass Black or GKev. So GKev, although running a very consistent race, managing to hold on to 1st place. Black Death being pretty aggressive here. I think he's looking to possibly make a move on GKev. So although we've had at lap number 8 here, we've had a few drivers drop off. It's still very competitive 1st through 4th place, so anything can happen. There are 13 laps to go. Beginning of lap number 8. Looks like Vindaxian is finally going to be able to take Black Death there on the outside. For how long, though? Because Black Death does have that better gear ratio where he's able to squeeze a bit more acceleration, continue to accelerate here in the end of the straightaway. Reclaims back 2nd place, so Vindaxian moving up a position only for a few seconds. Black Death claiming that right back, so very aggressive. GKev looking like he's almost spun off the track there. Back end sliding up from under him, being a little aggressive on that turn. Maybe feeling the pressure from Black Death and Vindaxian in his rearview mirror. So Centura Butts there in 4th place. Dropped back a little bit, but still has eyes on the leaders. GKev taking that turn way too aggressively, hits the dirt, allowing Black Death to take first place. Vindaxian having to put his brakes on there, so it avoids collision with GKev. So GKev now in second place, Black Death claiming that prestigious first place as Black Death makes his own error and goes a little bit wide. I think penalties are still going to be a major factor in this race. I'll have to take a look at the penalties here as it flips by on the ticker at the top. Vindaxian looking to pass GKev here on the inside. Takes GKev on the straightaway. GKev falling back to third place, so quite a lot of activity in the past lap. Black Death takes first. Vindaxian being very competitive. Takes second from GKev. GKev dropping back to third place. GKev providing an accidental pit move there on Vindaxian, almost taking him off the track, but Vindaxian manages to recover, still retaining his second place position. Falling a little bit further behind Black Death, he's able to capitalize on that little mistake between GKev and Vindaxian. GKev now in third place. Let's take a look at GKev here as he's still right on the heels of Vindaxian. Looking for an opportunity to pounce. I'm sure he's kicking himself or taking that turn a little aggressively about a lap and a half ago and allowing Black Death and Vindaxian both to pass him, so expect a rebuttal here from GKev. We still have Centero Butts in a comfortable fourth place, still has eyes on the leadership. So it's a very competitive first through fourth going into lap number 9. So 11 laps remain, or I should say 12 laps remain. 11 and a half, 12 and a half laps. Black Death out in front. Vindaxian in second, GKev in third. GKev taking that turn just a bit aggressively, hitting the dirt, almost losing a bit of control. Manages to hold on. So this appears to be a very competitive, very exciting second last race of this season. So still anything can happen. We are currently following GKev, who's currently in third place. We take a look at the penalties as they flash up on the board. I think Black Death has occurred about close to 2 seconds worth of penalties, if I'm not mistaken. So the penalties can come into a major factor here in terms of the pole position. GKev making a slight mistake there on the acceleration, allowing Black Death and Vindaxian to pull further ahead. So GKev has a full 1 second penalty. Centero Butts with a 3/4 second penalty. Out Cold with a 1/2 second penalty. I did miss Black Death, so we'll have to take a look at that again when he flashes by. I believe he got a close to a 2 second penalty, so Black Death with a full 3 second penalty. GKev with 1 second. Vindaxian still holding the lead here for the best lap at 240. Black Death pretty close down with 241. We are approaching the halfway point here. We do see one driver there at the line pitting. I believe that would be Delray, currently taking a pit stop. I believe he's the first car we've seen hit the pits so far this race. As a reminder, all drivers need to hit the pits at least once throughout the course of this race. Typically, they do this around the halfway point or so, depending on the track and the car they're driving and the range and fuel economy they might have. A lot of muscle cars, so I would expect that the mileage on these cars aren't the best. So we take a look here. Running about 30% fuel. Tires are a little worn there on the front from GKev, so you may expect him to take a pit soon. Oh, Black Death looking like he's making a move here on Vindaxian. Or Vindaxian looking to be very aggressive here on Black Death. Black Death still managing to retain that lead. Vindaxian still hot on his heels. Being very aggressive on that turn, taking Black on the outside. Going into the straightaway. Now, Black does have that in crazy acceleration, so he's continues to accelerate through the entire straightaway here. And he can make up a lot of lost time on Vindaxian just from this part of the track alone. So, this is where Vindaxian typically has had a very hard time passing Black. Makes up a lot of time throughout the course of the track, and then Black Death makes all of that time back on that one spot. Black Death maintaining first place here. All these drivers have opted not to pit quite yet. 10 laps, 10.5 laps remain. Daxon opting to do the pit. Here on lap number 12. It appears GKev and Centura Butts are following as well. So let's go ahead and pan over to Black Death here. Currently in first place to see what his fuel economy is looking like. What his fuel's at 39.8%, so plenty of fuel left. Tires seem to be in pretty good condition as well. So he's going to stretch out his pit for another few laps at least. Now, I'm wondering if driving by himself is going to end up slowing Black Death down a little bit. He did have Vindaxian pushing him pretty much the entire race, which will do absolute wonders for your lap time. It still occurred a full 3-second penalty, so that's going to definitely come into play here. He's going to have to make up some distance on Vindaxian by quite a bit. Black Death holding the close to the, almost tying the best lap time of Vindaxian there at 2:40.90, 2:40.93. So fantastic competitive lap times out of Black. So I wonder if we'll see a pit out of black here on lap number 12. Still has enough fuel and decent tire condition to go another lap or two, if he chooses to. Black Death is opting to make his pit here on lap number 12. It is an incredibly tight pit. Centurio Butts currently in second place, or currently in first place because of the pitting scenario. I don't think he is. He has not done his pit yet. So Centurio Butts, there's a few drivers have not pitted. Centurio Butts being one of them. Black Death exiting out of the pits, currently in fourth place. I believe GKev has not yet pitted. Vindaxian out in front in second. Centurio Butts, who has also not pitted, currently in first place. Let's take a look at his fuel. So he's running at 46.2% fuel. Very good wear on the tires as well. So he could definitely go a few more laps without pitting if he chooses. Wondering when he's going to opt to pit. Could be as early as this lap. Have to keep an eye on that. Centurio Butts lapping Delray there. So I'm not sure if GKev has actually pitted yet. Let's take a look at his fuel. Excuse me. So GKev has actually pitted. So GKev made up a fair amount of time there and blacked out. So he's out in front of him. So once Centurio Butts pits, we'll have our proper order again as I scramble to put the loop data map back on. There we are. So Centurio Butts out in front, but he has not pitted yet. Vindaxian currently in second place. So GKev in third. Black Death in fourth. So we've had a fair amount of drivers' position changes during the pitting. As we keep an eye here on Centurio Butts, as he appears to be... See if he is opting to pit. He is not opting to pit quite yet. Being very aggressive with that track distance. Black Death here in fourth place, eyes on GKev, who manages to take a position from Black there. I believe everyone on the track has pitted except for Centurio Butts. GKev with the 1 second penalty there. Black Death with 3 seconds. Delray running a clean lap. A clean race. Centurio Butts currently on front with the 2:44. Best lap time at 2:40 from Vindaxian. Black taking that a little aggressive. Going a bit wide, losing a fair amount of time on that turn. About 5 seconds. 5 seconds seems to be separating first and fifth place. So we are keeping an eye on Centurio Butts, who has opted not to pit quite yet. He is the one last driver to pit at some point. So we will see some changes in the pole position here. Centurio Butts currently on front. Vendaxian in second. GKev in third. Black Death here in fourth place. Echold in fifth and Delray in sixth. Maxing with the best time there, 240.54. All eyes on Ontario Butts for when he might decide to do his pit stop here. Once he opts for a pit, we will know our current pole position of the leaders. So I'll flip over to Centurio Butts here, currently in first place, see if he decides to pit here. And he is not pitting, so opting not to pit here on lap number 14, so we're going to stretch it a few more laps. He does have quite the fuel economy, still 39.2% fuel left in the tank. His tire condition is quite good, so he doesn't need to pit until a bit later, but so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Flipping back to Black Death here, currently in fourth place. Seems to be sluggish coming out of that last turn. So 6 laps remain, still very competitive race here. Black Death right on the heels of Delray. Each of the drivers seem to be separated by about 4 seconds. Black Death passing Delray here with ease on the straightaway. Black Death capable of making up a tremendous amount of time on that stretch. His car continues to accelerate from end to end. Penalty is going to be a big factor in this race, as the top 4 players are fairly close to one another. Black Death, I think, occurred about 3-second penalties. Delray around a 1 or 2 second. GKev with 1 second. Delray with, Black Death with 3. Centurio Butts with 3/4 of a second. Cold with half a second. So flip over here to Centurio Butts, currently in first place. See if he opts to complete his pit here on lap number 15. Where is he going to leave it right to the end? He's opting not to pit here on lap number 15. Stretching it 1 more lap. Let's take a look at his fuel economy here at 34.8, so still tons of fuel in the tank. He's actually probably capable of completing the race, although he does have to do, it is regulation to do 1 pit throughout the course of this race, so we'll keep an eye on him. So Centurio Butts opting not to pit here on lap number 15. Wondering if he's using this opportunity to not have anyone in his way and just, you know, see if he can make up some time on the track without any obstacles. And then pit near the end. And we'll see if the strategy works out for him. Hey, Mary. How are you doing this evening? Hey, yo. It's been a pretty exciting race so far. I'm not sure how long you've been here for, but Centero Butts is opting to stretch his pit out quite considerably. He hasn't pitted yet here on lap number 16, so wondering if he's going to leave his pit right to the end. Pretty competitive first to fourth place position. Black Death has about 3-second penalty. GK, I think, around a 1-second penalty, so penalties are going to come into play here. Centero Butts opting not to pit here on lap number 16. No, we've had a few little bumps here and there, but nothing too crazy. No one spun off the track because of it or lost a major pole position. We had a few drivers take corners a bit aggressively and go off the track momentarily in the beginning of the race, but it's been clean ever since. Vindaxian currently in second place, GK in third, Black Death in fourth. Let's go pop over to Black Death. I know he's been very aggressive here with GKev. About 4.5 laps to go here. Vindaxian crushing the 240 mark with the 239 best lap time, so continues to creep up his best lap throughout the course of this race. I haven't seen that yet. I think I saw him posting about the new pedals at Butts got, but seems he's doing well for him. He's driving a pretty good race tonight. He hasn't pitted yet, so I think he'll drop down to about third or fourth once he pits, but he hasn't had any major accidents or any major problems, so I think the pedals are working out quite nicely for him. Everyone's been driving a pretty solid race for the most part. All our eyes are on Butts right now. See if he opts to pit. Lap number 17 still hasn't pitted yet. I mean, 26% in the tank, so still has a lot of gas left. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to pit until pretty much the very end if he chooses not to, but opting not to pit here on lap number 17. I have a feeling, I have a theory here. The theory is that he will not pit until lap 21. Or lap 20. So I'm not sure if you can actually cross the line with on a pit. I'm not sure what that would look like, but I think he's going to choose not to pit for until lap 20. I think he'll pit on lap 20. I think he's enjoying the open track. There's no one in front of him, no one behind him, no pressure. He just drive his best race as he goes a little bit aggressive on that turn there before the straightaway. Probably losing a fair amount of time. A little swerve. Centero Butts cracking the 140, so he's his lap times are starting to improve considerably. He's usually around 142 for most of the track. Yeah, so I'm going to put my money on Centura Butts pitting on lap number 20. So GCAV has a 1 second Black Death, increases penalties by 3.5 seconds. Daxian still having the best lap time of 2:39. So Black Death, looking like he's making a little bit of time up here on GCAV. So all eyes on Centura Butts. If will he pit on lap number 18? Opting not to pit on lap number 18. Vindaxian is increasing his lead there over GCAV and Black Death by a fair amount. Actually challenging Centura Butts for first place. Again, Centura Butts being the only one who hasn't pitted yet, so Vindaxian is proverbially in first place. GCAV currently in second, Black in third. I believe Centura Butts is going to drop back to probably third or fourth based on the time it takes to pit. We pop back to Vindaxian here. He has been driving a pretty excellent race. So about 2.5 laps to go here. Race number 11. Black Death creeping up on GCAV. Not sure if you'll have enough time to be able to make up a few more seconds. Again, Black has a 2-second penalty over GCAV as well, so you'd have to get in front of him and get quite the lead, which might be a lot to be asking for only 2.5 laps remaining. Next, about 4.5 seconds behind the leader here. All eyes are on Butts. Will he opt to pit on lap number 19? And he does, proving me wrong. All right, so lap number 19. Centura Butts finally hits the pits. Daxian will take first place. GCAV will take second, Black Death will take fourth, and Centura Butts will drop back to... Or third, sorry. So, yeah. Centura Butts is dropping back to fourth place. As expected. So all the drivers now have officially pitted. So we have Indaxian out in front with a seismic lead over the field. GCAV and Black Death and second and third. Black Death does have enough time to possibly catch up. So it is still competitive second place, although, again, Black Death has about 2-second penalty over top of GCAV, so you'd have to have quite the lead on him. Let's go ahead and flip over to Black Death here, currently in third place. Has GCAV in his sights. The next thing, I believe the only driver to crack 240. Flip over to our race leader, Vindaxian, here as he comes around the final turn of lap 20, going into the last lap of the race. So we are in the final lap here of race number 11. On Circuit de Spa de Frankenchops. Francourt Champs. Champs, whatever. Francourt something. So we'll have to see what the distance gap is. I just missed the time gap. We'll have to see if Black Death is far enough ahead of Centura Butts for Centura Butts to secure third place and Centura Butts to be in fourth. Currently on lap times. With the 1 second, 3.5 second penalty with Black Death, Butts with a 3/4 second, equal to the 1.75 second delta of the 1/4 second penalty. So we'll have to see if Black Death is far enough away. Yeah, so Black Death should have no problem taking third place here, even with this penalty. Centura Butts is a little bit too far behind. Half lap remain, roughly, well, 1/3 lap remain. So Black Death seems to have about a 7-second lead on Centura Butts, so he should be able to take third place, no problem, even with his accrued penalties. Next team making his way to the final hairpin here. So Vindaxian will take first place here in race number 11. GCAV falling behind in second. Black Death fairly close, but will finish the race in third. Santero Butts coming around the turn here in fourth. Out Cold in a comfortable fifth. Oh, never mind. There appears to be, hold the horses, there appears to be a very competitive fifth and sixth place between Del Rey and the Out Cold. Oh, Del Rey being behind a lap though, so not quite as competitive as it might look. But we shall watch it nonetheless. So Out Cold will take fifth place unless there's some cataclysmic event that happens, and Del Rey will finish in sixth. Alright, while Del Rey finishes up his final lap, we'll flip over to the drivers. See what they're up to. Congrats, guys. Race volume is incredibly loud.
We wore ourselves out in that 1 hour race. It was long.
I'm going to go back to pit so we can chat here. Del Rey's just finishing up his last lap. And there we are. That was an exciting race.
Wasn't too bad before the pits. We had a couple of close position fights. After
Yep.
the pits, we kind of spread out. But
Yeah, I had my bet that Santero Butts was going to pit on lap number 20. He decided to pit on lap number 19 like a jerk. But I thought, can you actually complete the race with a pit? Can you pit on lap 21?
No.
no,
No?
No.
Because you wouldn't technically be crossing the line?
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Lap right before the last lap.
Yeah, so that's why I thought you were going to stretch it to lap 20. Because your tires are pretty good.
Then you get a DNF.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Shit,
don't
that sucks.
quit when the one's required.
Because that'd be a
Yeah.
real dick move if you have such the lead in first place that you can actually you can pit at the very end and still retain first.
It's possible.
But if you can't complete it on lap 21, then
Yeah, the
So be
reason
it.
why I pitted on 19 is because I did be coming out with cold tires. I was
Yeah.
hoping to get a good lap 20 and 21, but that didn't happen.
Well, you want to pick our last track?
pick the last track. So congratulations, Ven, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Very solid race.
I was actually running a lot faster than I was in practice with this car.
Wheel picker. Wheel of names. All right.
Yeah, when you turn your fastest lap in the race versus practice, you know you're doing something right.
Yeah, 239.9 I ran once in practice, but it was 240s or 241s the rest of the time.
Daytona, we've done. Lime Rock, we've done Long Beach. You know what?
Discord has it.
If you just roll it out and we've done the race before, we can.
Then we exactly. I like it. See, I like your thinking. Do a little shuffle there and click to spin. Sebring International Raceway.
That's
Congratulations.
it's a good track. Yeah, it's a good track.
Honda S800, the 73 Ford Escort, and the Fiat 124 Spider.
Okay.
Those are the band cars.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, congratulations, Ven.
Oh, thanks.
I do have to remember to crank you up a bit more. You're hard to hear on the stream, but it's okay. Very good. All right, excellent. So next Friday's our final race, right?
Yep.
Yes, it is.
There's no holidays or anything like that we have to worry about. It's been a pretty uneventful season. I think we've done every single Friday, haven't we?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we almost had to skip one because of technical difficulties a couple weeks ago.
And even a pandemic's not going to get in the way in this freaking race. We are
What
committed,
else are we gonna do, right?
right?
Oh crap.
Porn.
Gosh.
I'm not sure. Very true. It is the safest way to social distance. Just lock yourself in a room and go nuts. All right, guys. Well, congrats, and pretty nice track to end it on, I think. Next week, so.
Sebring's usually pretty good. Look forward to it.
Good job, Opry. I was watching the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thank
thanks,
you
Noble.
again.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure. It was good. It was a good race this time. I think we should just take... What was that track that we did? That was super long. Where we
Le
trimmed down.
Mans?
Yeah, let's just take that out of there.
Well, we usually have a
Maybe.
driver meeting between seasons. I was going to propose just making a schedule. Clever combination of tracks, and then
Yeah.
players who don't
Curate.
have time to prep for a given week, they can practice for next week, kind of thing. And
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will sort all those details out, but very good. All right, so I'll sign off and let you guys continue with your day. So thanks.
Thank you, Opry.
yeah, thanks,
Thanks.
Opry.
Thanks,
See you guys.
Over.
See you, Opry.
So thank you guys for checking us out here. Race number 11, spot of Frankenchomp. So next week, we're going to be running Sebring International Raceway. It'll be the final track of the season, race number 12. So it should be pretty exciting. Please feel free to check us out at 11 o'clock. If you want to check out the Over 30 Clan, you can follow us at over30clan.com. It's everything you need to know about what we do and who we are. We are a clan dedicated to over 30 gamers in the world, right? Pure internet humans, if you will. And we'll be here at 11 o'clock Eastern next week to round out Season 6. So hopefully to see you guys there. And thank you again for checking us out.